Thank you.
Thank you, Ceann Corla. Taoiseach, last Thursday evening, 5 anti-water charge activists were ordered to be incarcerated by a High Court judge for protesting against the installation of water meters not wanted by the overwhelming majority in this country. Now, for the record, Taoiseach, the judge discounted all suggestions of bad behaviour and jailed them solely on the evidence they had contravened and come inside a 20-metre exclusion zone around meter installing. Not a law passed here in this House, but an injunction sought by GMC Sierra, a company owned by the richest man in Ireland, Denis O'Brien, and a media magnate in this country as well. Now, these jailings follow hot on the heels of outrageous dawn raids on 23 people arrested in Tala last week. And Taoiseach, my question is, how far is this Fine Gael Labour Party government willing to go in a vain attempt to break the mass movement against the water charges? Just how isolated your government is from the lives of ordinary people was graphically demonstrated last weekend at your Fine Gael conference in Castlebar, when you had to surround yourself not with one but 2 rings of steel, 10-foot-high fences and a phalanx of Gardaí and security. Does this look like a government, Taoiseach, that has brought about a democratic revolution? Or does it not look like more what it is? A government that's bled ordinary people dry to feed the greed of bankers and the financial markets, just as you shamefully are assisting in throwing to the wolves the people of Greece who are suffering the same fate.
Thank you.
Your attempt to criminalise, Taoiseach, the movement against the water charges is anti-democratic. It's an affront to the right to protest. And your use of coercion to try to split the movement against the water charges and austerity is failing.
Thank you,
March 21st national demonstration will remind you of that once again. But in April and May, you'll face a massive boycott of the water bills as well. So, Taoiseach, my question is this. Will you join with the Anti-Austerity Alliance in demanding the release immediately of the 4 residents who are imprisoned in Dublin? Will you stop the attempted criminalising of protesters? And will you recognise reality and listen to the majority of people in this country and abolish the water charges? Or are you going to limp on and wait alongside the Labour Party until you, Labour, and the water charges have to be obliterated in the general election, Taoiseach?
Thank you. Taoiseach.
No, I will not. I recognise the courts of the country, I recognise the law of the land, and the people who are in contempt of court knew very well what they were doing. It seems to me, Deputy Coppinger, as if you are inviting people to break the law, no more than Deputy Murphy beside you, inviting people to breach of contract. You should go and speak to Deputy Butler today. Go and speak to him in respect of fear and intimidation and the frightening of young children, no more than the family of the Minister for Transport. I don't agree with you. The law of the land is the law of the land, and the courts are completely independent of this House, and they make their decisions. And in this case, the justice was absolutely crystal clear.
Deputy Coppinger, thank you.
Taoiseach, do you agree that the treatment of the 5 people who were sentenced is in stark contrast to the sentence passed down last July to 2 executives from Anglo-Irish Bank who gave illegal loans and led to huge financial problems in this country, and in a 2-minute sentence by the judge were handed 240 hours of community service? Now, Taoiseach, they live in mansions in Rathgar and Malahide. Does that make them less suited to prison life? It used to be said that there was one law for the rich and another for the poor in this country. Is there any law at all for the rich in this country? Because the HSBC tax evasion, for example,
Taoiseach, we can't be straying all over the town.
What are you going to do about that?
Would you put your supplementary
In imposing the sentence, by the way, the judge said that they were encouraging civil disobedience. And I'd like to point out to you, Taoiseach, that civil disobedience is a vital method of challenging unjust laws, and it has been through the ages. We wouldn't have the right to vote. We wouldn't have trade union rights if we hadn't challenged unjust laws. Taoiseach, are you aware as well that Photocall Ireland was visited by Gardaí with a warrant to take away film
Sorry,
that
Deputy,
they had
would you put your
taken of a
question,
protest.
please? This is not
and what do you
statement.
think of this kind of development?
Sorry.
And yesterday, Taoiseach, 30 Gardaí were in a small lane in Rialto to assist in the installation of...
Sorry, Deputy, would you put your question, please, and listen to the Chair? Thank you. You're over
I
time.
don't know if you know
You're
these
over time. You're over time. You are over time. Now, would you please resume your seat? Thank you. Sorry. Would you please resume your seat and put your question? Thank you.
I'd like to finish mine, thank you. My last question is this, Taoiseach.
Deputy.
You don't seem to be as concerned about the laws of the land. For example, it was asked by a previous deputy in this House in Leaders' Questions about GMC Sierra and how it managed to get the contract for...
Deputy, would you please resume your seat and put your question? Thank you. Thank you, Deputy.
Do you think that there should be a High Court investigation into that?
Thank you. Taoiseach.
I'm not aware of the treatment of persons who were sent to prison in contempt of court. I've read the comment from the Prison Officers Association that their treatment was the same as anybody else's in prison. These people knew very well what they were doing. They wanted to be in contempt of court, as far as I can assess, and clearly the courts are completely and utterly independent of this House here. I would say to you, Deputy Coppinger, you asked me, did I think that their treatment was fair? It's for the courts to make their decision, and these people were jailed for contempt of court. Now, I don't think it's fair to have the kind of treatment that was meted out to the Taoiseach of a government, or the family of a government minister, or last night the family of a deputy going about his legitimate business. It is not in order, Deputy Coppinger, to stop any person from going about their legitimate business in this country. And the point is that while peaceful protest in our country has always been part of our democracy, contempt of court is not. The law of the land. And you, Deputy Murphy, in encouraging people to breach a contempt of court, you know as well as I do what the law of the land is. And if it's your attempt, if you want political leadership, well then don't attempt to be leading a mob.
That completes.